All right, this is, do you want to be on the radio? You want to be on the radio? No? Okay. This is the host break for just after 6 a.m. The about, what is that, 17 break, I think. We'll be back selling Yaz. Here we go, coming in 3, 2, 1. It's KJQ, Radio from Hell, Kerry and/or Bill. I'm one of them.
I'm Andor.
Yes, and here we are. And that was Yaz from the import version. Well, actually, it's not an import version
it's
here.
Domestic here.
Yes, we're in London, and Stacey's also with us, and we're sitting in Howard Jones' kitchen, waiting for Howard to join us.
Do you think we could get Osheen to say something?
Do you want to say hi? Say hi really loud. Say hi.
He's not going to.
Yeah, you might have heard that little hi in the background. We'll be talking with Howard Jones coming up momentarily here on the show. But right now we have to play some commercials for you and all that kind of stuff. Be right back. I don't blame you. All right, this is the little host segment coming out of the four of us. We'll back sell that and go into commercials just briefly. Coming in 3. Oh, this is the 7 a.m. hour. Coming in 3, 2, 1. It's the four of us and Drag My Bad Name Down on KJQ. It's Kerry and Bill here at the Radio from Hell show, and we're sitting in Howard Jones' kitchen, which is a very pleasant place to be, I must say.
There's not many people that can say that. Oh yeah, we're just sitting in Howard Jones' kitchen. Yeah.
It is amazing, Howard, how people when we say we had coffee with Howard Jones and they get all excited. As a matter of fact, I have a fan letter for you that a listener insisted that we bring and deliver to you. So that you are much beloved for KJQ audiences.
Oh, thanks very much for. Say hello to everybody who's listening.
All right.
Thanks for your support.
All right, we'll have more with Howard coming up in just a few moments, but we have to play some commercials. That's what makes this kind of thing possible.
That's how we got here.
That's right. They pay my salary. Host. Okay, this is on our host cassette, and we'll be back selling Peter Murphy at the 8 o'clock hour, about 17 after I think this occurs. Coming in 3, 2, 1. It's Peter Murphy on KJQ, A Strange Kind of Love. I'm Bill Allred, and this is my partner.
I'm Kerry Jackson. Thank you.
Indeed. And we're the Radio from Hell
Jackson,
guys.
Thank you. It's the full
Jackson,
name.
thank you, yes. And we're here with Howard Jones. You were telling us about some of the albums you like of all time. It just made me think about, we played Peter Murphy there. Who do you like that's contemporary? Is that a fair question?
Well, contemporary. I mean, the albums that I've really liked recently. I really liked the Don Henley album.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the Bonnie Raitt album.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are people who've been around a long, long time, but they seem to have reached a new sort of level of maturity. It's incredible which is new for rock and roll.
Yeah.
You haven't had people who've been around that long to get mature.
You're starting to almost fall into that category too, aren't you?
The greatest. My white beard is probably indicating this.
Yes, Howard's aged.
We're going to start calling him Old Howard Jones?
Old Howard Jones, right? No, we won't do that. We'll have more with Howard coming up in just a second. We'll be talking about some environmental things and animal rights issues, but first we have to play these commercials. Segments one there?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is first segment for the 6 a.m. hour. Kerry and Bill, and we're just coming out of commercials in 3, 2, 1. It's KJQ. It's the Radio from Hell broadcast once again with Kerry and Bill, and we're pleased to be sitting here with Howard Jones in his kitchen.
Very homey feel, doesn't it?
It is. It's kind of an odd thing. I mean, we've met you before now, and I mean, you're just a regular person, but at the same time, every once in a while, you think, wait a minute, I'm sitting in Howard Jones' kitchen. I mean, that is kind of odd, but thanks for having us back.
It's a pleasure.
And his wife, Jan, made us some coffee and some juice and so forth. Well, she didn't make the juice, but she...
That's one thing I've noticed is that when we said, well, we went to Howard Jones' house last year, we got back, everybody asked us, well, how big was it?
Mm-hmm.
And when I told them, it's just a very very nice,
Modest.
simple, modest place. Not some big mansion or something. They were very shocked.
You would actually, Howard, be really pleased to know that after our European broadcast last year here on KJQ, and seriously, your interview segments and things were the ones that people talk about the most. And are you going to talk to Howard Jones again and all of that?
Oh, that's nice to know.
We'll have more with Howard Jones coming up. We want to talk about the new album that you are working on. A new album. Is it all done?
No, it's quite a way yet, but I'm getting there.
All right.
I'm getting there.
Can we talk about that a little bit today?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that and various other things. But first, we're going to send you back to the States and play the Midnight Oil song "Bedlam Bridge." Oh, I like this one.
It's on their new album.
That's right. That's of course you're hearing it on KJQ and our broadcast from Europe. Okay. Oh, Stacey, let me see those reviews. Here we go. This is segment for about 35, and we will be introing the song Camouflage. We'll be introducing Camouflage. Here we go. Coming in 3, 2, 1. It's KJQ, the Radio from Hell show here at Howard Jones' home. I'm Bill Allred, and it's my partner.
Hi, I'm Kerry. Yeah.
Kerry, the other guy. And we are talking to Howard Jones, and we brought Howard some concert reviews of his show in July at Park West last year.
In the Deseret News here.
Yes, and both very glowing reviews. And did you have a really good time at Park West that night?
Well, I mean, I always have a good time at Park West, but this was, I think, it was the finest one that I've ever done. I mean, the most enjoyable one for me. It was because if you remember the one before, the weather was really bad, and it was, I think it was snowing during the afternoon, and so everyone was like freezing to death on the last one. So this one, the weather was perfect, and like people were going right up the hill, and that I sort of felt like making up for the last time, really, because the weather was so bad.
Do you want me to let Osheen in?
It's probably Osheen. It's Howard's son knocking on the door. I suspect that's who that is. Is that who that is? That's who it is. So, Osheen, do you want to say hi on the radio? Do you want to say hi? Come on over here and say hi. Can you say hello?
Hello.
There he is. There he is for American audiences. We know you're working on a new album right now. We'll talk about that. But are you going to be coming back to Park West, do you think, soon?
Oh, I certainly hope so. I mean, the album is I haven't even started recording it yet. I've been writing ever since I've been back and doing a lot of other projects that I'll tell you about. So it'll probably be next year before I get back to touring again. But I look forward to it. It's like a big highlight for me.
We'll talk about Howard worked on a very interesting project called One World, One Voice, and we'll be talking about that coming up in just a few minutes. But we'll play some more music for you. It's Camouflage on KJQ. Okay, this is the break for 50 segment cassette coming out. No, we'll be back selling Revenge. Here we go, coming in 3, 2, 1. Pineapple Face. It's Revenge on KJQ.
You think they're talking about anyone in particular?
I'm not sure. I noticed on a copy of the record that we got, it says they're not talking. It specifically says this is not about Manuel Noriega.
Oh, well, they may just be saying that, too, so they don't get sued or anything.
You know who I think they're talking about?
Who?
It's my old third-grade teacher.
Ah, there you go.
That's who it is. We're sitting here in Howard Jones' home, the Radio from Hell show here on location in Europe, and Howard was just telling us about the One World, One Voice project that he just did. Tell folks what that's all about.
Yeah, well, it's quite difficult to explain, but basically what it is, it's a 2-hour piece. Half of it is a documentary on how it was made, and then the second hour is an actual piece of music, 50 minutes long, which is like a global symphony. And it was made by sort of like a musical form of a chain letter, whereby the tapes were passed around the world, and musicians added their contributions and overdubs from the middle of Africa to Lapland to Leningrad. It's a truly global piece of music, and my involvement was there was 3 or 4 sort of bass pieces laid down that people could use as a starting block, and Sting did one, and Gabriel did one, and I did one. And so the effect was that on Saturday when it was broadcast, I hadn't really seen what anybody else had played on it, and so I was sitting there watching Dave Gilmour play a guitar solo over it, and the Leningrad Symphony Orchestra playing the main theme, and Terence Trent D'Arby singing on it, and Bob Geldof, and it was really fantastic, and it worked. That's the amazing thing. The 50-minute piece of music works as a whole, and Rupert Hine, who produced it, did a fantastic job, and Kevin Godley filmed it all. And so you've got, it's a really remarkable piece. I really hope that people in America get to see it, because it's the first thing of its kind, and I think, maybe you could play some of the stuff on the radio as well. Take a CD back with you.
What was the effect of seeing a bass piece that you'd laid down, and then I guess it grew into something else when other musicians added to it? What was that like for you?
Well, it's just felt wonderful. I just love the symbolism of it, because the whole thing was, we were trying to point out that, if we're going to tackle the massive problems of the environment, there has to be cooperation. There has to be surrender of control in a way, a bit. So it's like you do a piece and then you let it go and see what happens. And so I was delighted what people had done, and the way you could trust other musicians to do something good on your bit, and it was great.
Well, it was certainly a fine group of musicians you were working with too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we never actually. I mean, when my piece was done here, we had a guy called Hossam Ramzi, who's an Egyptian percussionist. He played here, but then actually the musicians didn't meet physically, but they met through their music, which is another great thing.
We'll be talking more with Howard Jones coming up. Right now, we've got to take care of a few commercials and give you some more music here on KJQ. We'll send you back to the States now. All right, here we go. This is the segment for 17. We'll be introing the rave-ups. Coming in 3, 2, 1. Kerry and Bill, it's Radio from Hell. More now with Howard Jones on KJQ as we sit in his kitchen and
Osheen.
Oh, and Osheen. I didn't mean to leave you out, Osheen. Osheen's just getting over the chicken pox. And was it fun having chicken pox, Osheen? You have to say no. No. There we go. It was not. He's sitting in his dad's lap here in the kitchen, and I want to talk a little bit about the new record that you're working on right now. Tell us about what you can about it at this point.
Right. Well, I set myself. Oh, do you want to stay up? Do you? Okay.
He's staying up.
She's falling. Right. Yeah. I wanted to set myself a set of parameters for this record. And the main thing was to keep all the songs that were written for it to be very much related in style, so that it wasn't a kind of potpourri of all the things that I've ever liked since I was 5, which I perhaps have done on previous albums. I've put a very diverse selection of styles because I like all that stuff. But with this one, I wanted to make it much more concise. So that means I've thrown a lot of things away and kept songs that are all related to each other. There's a lot of piano playing involved in this one as well, because I want the album to actually be quite underproduced. I want it to be very much sort of very, very basic and simple piano, guitars, bass, but with a very much an intimate feel, so that the voice is right there, right in front of you. Sort of to get away from the kind of complex production of, say, something like Everlasting Love.
Now, there's been some talk. I think Stacey was telling us that last year you were saying that you thought it would be fun just to get a piano and tour by yourself and play piano bars and so forth. What?
Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't. I would play sort of theatres if I was going to do that, but I don't. I mean, that is a project that I will do. I'm not sure when. But I do want to do that. It's kind of maybe a few years down the road, but I would like to do it because I do like the kind of intimacy of that. I mean, you can't really do it in big places. You need sort of 2,000, 1,500 seater place to do.
When you're playing a place like Park West, it sort of necessitates, in a way, a lot of sound and a lot of activity, right?
Yeah, I think you have to be quite big and exciting when you've got that many people, because, you know, just because of the physical dimensions of it.
Yeah, it's even physically demanding, too. You run around a lot on stage and all of that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit more about the new record coming up, and we'll be spending some more time with Howard Jones here on KJQ, but now we need to play some music, back in the studio.
The rave-ups would be nice right now. She says, come around on KJQ.
Okay, we just continue here. This is coming out of commercials. This is the 35 segment, the 7 o'clock hour, and going into Hoodoo Gurus. Coming in 3, 2, 1. It's Kerry and Bill, Radio from Hell, talking with Howard Jones here in his kitchen at Grange Cottage, and we were talking about his new album, and you said that you're talking about it being related thematically. Mm-hmm. The sound will be the same. Will it be a certain theme in subject matter as well?
No, probably not. I mean, a lot of the songs are about relationships again, which I haven't really dealt with that much before. I've always dealt with all sort of larger issues, I think. But most of those songs are about relationships. There's going to be a couple of environmental tracks as well, mm-hmm. But hopefully done in an interesting way, because I don't think you can just preach and shout at people. Mm-hmm. You know, it's good to present those kind of ideas in an interesting way.
Any one song that you have so far that we should keep an eye out for, you think?
Well,
one that you like particularly? You know?
Yeah, there's a song called A Gun. It's called Gun Turned on the World, which I think is coming on really well.
This is a preview of things that I mean, you're hearing it here first, really. I think Howard Jones. Well, and do you have any idea when it's going to be completed?
Well, I've got 6 songs written that I love and I think are great. I've got another 2 being worked on. Mm-hmm. So that's 8. So I really need 10. So maybe I'll be starting it around September, October time. So hopefully be finished by Christmas and then out in next spring.
We'll have next spring, we hope, and then we'll see him back in Park West. We've got more time to spend with Howard Jones coming up here as we just hang around Grange Cottage. We need to just sort of hanging around.
Sitting around the kitchen. Yeah.
That's right. We'll have more coming up. Right now we got music for you. It's Hoodoo Gurus, Baby Can Dance on KJQ. Just a second. This is the third break of the segment of the 7 o'clock hour. It's at about 50, and we'll be back selling The Origin, Growing Old. Coming in 3, 2, 1. KJQ, it's Radio from Hell in Europe, and that was The Origin, a song a lot of people are liking right now. Calling for it all the time. Song's called Growing Old. It's Kerry and Bill, Radio from Hell, sitting with Howard Jones here in the kitchen, and
anything but hell, okay?
yes, this is anything but hell. It's the kitchen from hell. It's just kind of
almost the kitchen from hell.
Almost the kitchen from hell.
Cleaner than my kitchen.
Well, it is. Yeah, it's cleaner than mine as well, I think. And I'm going to get right on that. I promise. We're talking just a little bit more about the new album. And something you said that I thought was interesting a few minutes ago about a lot of diverse styles. And I know when you were at Park West the last time, you played the old Spencer Davis song, Give Me Some Lovin', which is a big crowd pleaser. And do you like a lot of diverse styles of music?
Yes, I do. I mean, I have a very eclectic taste. I mean, I listen to all kinds of things. And I've been thinking recently that doesn't really make for the best albums, though, because my favourite albums of all time have a kind of, a feel to them from one end to the other. Mm-hmm. And no matter where you put the album on, you know it's from that album.
Mm-hmm. For example?
Well, I'd say something like Dark Side of the Moon, for instance, or
Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah, or Abbey Road, or Back in the High Life by Stevie Winwood, you know. I could go on actually, but I won't. But anyway, you know, those albums, they have a distinctive sound all the way through. So that's what I'm going to try and do on this next one.
We're looking forward to that, and you've heard a lot about the album. We're going to talk with Howard in a few minutes about some of the environmental issues that he's involved in, and also animal rights. I assume you're still very involved in that?
Yes, in fact, there's a new track that I want to tell you about.
All right, we'll be telling you all about that coming up in our next hour. Right now we're going to play some commercials, and we'll be back. It's Radio from Hell, KJQ in Europe.
Yes. They're just done the biggest tour of all time.
Yeah. Here we go. This is coming out of commercials at 17, and we'll be going into Mighty Lemon Drops in 3, 2, 1. Sitting here with Howard Jones, it's KJQ, Radio from Hell, with Kerry and Bill, and Stacey's also with us here. Hi. Say hi, Stacey.
Hello, how are you?
There we go.
I'm trying to work from it.
She's working on her British accent here.
Hello, darling. How are you?
We're talking with Howard about music a lot, but Howard's also very involved. Howard Jones, I should say, for those of you who may just be tuning in.
You've gotten just too friendly, haven't you?
Howard is involved in a lot of other issues. I know animal rights among them. And are you affiliated with the PETA organization?
That's right. It sounds like the sort of KGB, doesn't it?
Yes, it is.
KGB of animal rights now.
All right, can we see your card, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. Yeah, and there's a new album coming out by PETA. It's called Tame Yourself, and I've got a track that I've specially written and recorded for it called Don't Be Part of It, which is supposed to be coming out in the summer. So there's a lot of really good stuff on there. Dan Matthews, who's coordinated it, was over last weekend and played me a lot of the stuff from Belinda Carlisle and Jane Weedlin, and B-52's doing a live track on it. So it's going to be a really, really good album, probably even better than the last one. It's all original material, and in fact, Erasure, I've done a track especially for it as well, with I can't remember her name. It'll come to me later, but that's really good too. So look out for that.
Yeah, I would imagine we'll be playing a good many of those songs. Those are all artists we play real heavily. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the track you did for it.
Right. Well, it's called Don't Be Part of It, and I don't. It's sort of a bit. The style is a bit more sort of what kind of thing I used to do around Dream Into Action. It just came out that way. It's just basically catalogues all the animal rights issues that, well, it catalogues all of them really. You know, slaughterhouses, animal testing, fur. It goes through all those issues and says, you know, don't be part of it. Don't be part of the killing. It's very straight to the point, really.
We're going to be talking more with Howard about animal rights. Did you open a restaurant?
Yes, it's closed now, but we did. We had a fling.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about it and see what it was.
Are you sure you want to do that?
You don't want to bring it up?
Swiftly move on.
Okay, forget the restaurant. We're moving on.
All right, we'll move on. We're going back to the studio playing the Mighty Lemon Drops. It's Real World on KJQ. This is the 8:35 segment, and coming out of commercials and going into Erasure. In 3, 2, 1. It's Radio from Hell, still here in Maidenhead, where Howard Jones lives. The town is the town Maidenhead. Yeah. And we're here talking in the kitchen. We've been talking a little bit about animal rights and the ethical treatment of animals and vegetarianism. That's and you've been a vegetarian for a number of years, right?
Yeah, it must be 14 now. 14 years.
Is that you mainly became a vegetarian not because of health consideration, but because of the ethical treatment of animals?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, basically, it's very simple. I just don't want to kill things to live when I don't have to, and I certainly don't have to. So, why live a violent lifestyle when you don't have to?
It's kind of some people think, well, you know, I'd like to do that. I'd like to be a vegetarian, but how, you know, our diets are so based around eating flesh. How do I do that?
Well, it's very easy. It's really easy. All you have to do is just think. It's just, you see, it's a matter. See, what's happened is that when people used to live on farms and they used to farm their own animals, and they used to sort of then kill their own animals for their meat. Well, you're directly related to that. You know, you're there. There's the animal. You've got to eat, so you kill the animal. But nowadays it's all become disembodied from that, and so a piece of meat on the table is like the person who's eating it takes no responsibility in the act of killing that animal. So that's really the worst part of it, is that people don't even see it as dead flesh anymore. Mm-hmm. They just see it as a hamburger or something that maybe grew on a tree somewhere, but in fact it represents, you know, death and slaughter, and if one reminds oneself of that, then I think it's very easy to stop.
Yeah, I mean, it is true. You don't think of that beefsteak as being once a cow standing in the field enjoying the air and saying, gee, I'm having a nice life.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's many other issues in this day and age as well. I mean, the fact that the amount of energy, the amount of grain that it takes to feed animals, you could feed, you know, hundreds of people on that. And you do much less damage to the environment. So it becomes an environmental issue as well. It seems to make sense on all fronts. I mean, recently in this country we've just had this outbreak of bovine spongiform disease, which means because they've been feeding cows the remains of sheep. I mean, cows are vegetarian creatures, and, you know, it's like our farming practices have become so unnatural and distorted as well. All these things, it all ends up in the human food chain, and, you know, it's bad news really all round.
Is it, would you say that it's, I mean, if people really get interested in this kind of thing from just hearing you talk or whatever, I mean, what should they do about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had literally like hundreds and thousands of letters from people who've become vegetarians because of sort of things that I've said and things I've sung about, because they just thought, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that before, which is the way it's happened to me. You know, I was just sitting down with somebody just brought it all to my attention. I thought, you know, like the penny dropped in my head. Something, oh yeah, well, I don't need to do that. You know, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have that kind of lifestyle. That's very easy. Mm-hmm.
Is PETA a good group to find out about this?
PETA is a really excellent group. In fact, I think they're the best animal rights group in the world, because what they do is they think up such inventive and creative ways of getting home the point. Like, for instance, they just bring things to people's attention in very imaginative ways. Like, for instance, for the launch of Tame Yourself, the idea is that we're all going to, all the artists are going to line up only wearing a body stocking, so it looks like we're naked. In fact, some people might be naked. It's probably better for the
I guess Belinda
shot.
Carlisle will be.
Well, we can only hope.
Yeah, and we'll be holding a banner, in front of the crucial organs, and
Noses, you mean?
yeah, and it'll say, what will it say? It'll say, "I'd rather be naked than wear fur." You know, things like that, which is a great idea. It'll make a great picture, and it'll get all around the world. And it's that kind of creativity that makes PETA so dynamic in this area, and has caused, tremendous upheaval in the way a lot of people think about animal rights issues.
A little bit more with Howard in just a minute.
You know, since we're in Howard's kitchen,
yeah,
maybe we could get a recipe from him, his favorite vegetarian dish.
Yeah. Cooking with Howard Jones.
It's dangerous. That's dangerous. The last thing I made was a dish from Bombay. It was called spicy potatoes, and it had 7 chilies in it, and it was really, steaming out the top of your head job. So.
Sounds like my kind of stuff, though. We'll have a little more with Howard coming up. We'll round out the hour here, but right now it's Erasure, Phantom Bride, as KJQ broadcasts from Howard Jones' kitchen in Europe. Back to the States now. All right, this is final segment with Howard Jones. We'll talk about some new music and things coming up. We'll be back selling Schnell Fenster. And that's... Schnell Fenster. Schnell Fenster. Coming in 3. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Here we go. Coming in 3, 2, 1. KJQ, that's a Schnell Fenster love-hate relationship here on.
Now, this is really bothering me here because, I mean, we're back in the States, we're playing Schnell Fenster,
Right.
and everybody I talk to says, well, that's fast window in German. Am I the only one that doesn't know any German?
Howard Jones just said.
Howard's European, I can understand that, but I got guys, you know, it just, never mind.
No, yeah, I think everybody knew it but you, Kerry.
Everyone speaks German but me.
That's right.
That's everybody does.
That's right. We're gonna let Howard go here in just a second, but he's been very kind to spend the morning with us. But we wanted to talk about 2 or 3 other new projects just out that he's got going.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you must check out the new Propaganda album.
All right.
And the first single of the album is called Heaven Give Me Words, which I wrote most of. And there's another track on the album that I was involved in it as well. So I think is that released in America yet? It probably isn't in a...
No, not yet.
No, the single probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, single.
That'd probably be something you could play on,
Yeah.
on your radio station.
And how did you get involved in that?
Well, Chris Hughes and Ian Stanley and Ross produced The Prisoner and Everlasting Love with me, and so I got to know them really well. And they were producing Propaganda, and got a bit stuck on a couple of songs, so they asked me to come down, and I got involved, and it was great fun. I mean, all these collaborations are great fun, because I've been so kind of insular for so long, but being in, working with other people is great fun.
And you say you had a track coming out on an Elektra?
Yeah, there's an Elektra album, which is quite interesting actually. I think it's the 40th anniversary of the label, and they've issued an album whereby all the current artists record a track by somebody who's been on the Elektra label since the beginning. So, for instance, like The Cure are doing a Doors track.
I see. I see. That'll be good. You know which one? That'd be interesting.
I don't know which one, but and Motley Crue are doing You're So Vain.
Really?
You're So Vain. Should be great. And I'm doing this track by somebody you might not have heard of, actually, a guy called David Ackles, who was a cult 60s artist.
David who?
Ackles.
I don't know him.
No, he's a really interesting artist. He only released about 3 or 4 albums. There's a track called Road to Cairo, which I've done, which I think is really different. It's very different from anything I've done before. I really enjoyed doing it, so that's on there.
There was one other project you were going to tell? Archangel, yeah.
That's right, yeah. I produced a track for a lady called Natalie Archangel. She's got her album out on MCA in a few months, I guess. The track's called Don't Heal Clean.
Really so you're working constantly. I mean, it never stops.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's really good to do all these different things. But, yeah, I am. I mean, I enjoy it,
I guess just thanks. It's been. I hope we can make this kind of an annual pilgrimage. It's really a pleasure to just sit here and chat and come on out to the house.
Yes. Yeah. How many miles is it away? You're about 5,000, is it?
I think we're about 5,000 miles from home.
It's a bit of a jaunt, yes.
Yeah, so we pounced off to Howard's place.
No, we don't ponce anywhere.
You don't ponce off anywhere.
No, that's quite dangerous over here.
No pouncing, right?
Yeah. So we look forward to coming back to Park West and doing. I just get. I mean, it is pretty unique the kind of reaction I get in Salt Lake area, Utah.
You've been a very popular artist on our station for a number of years.
It's like when we're driving. I remember when we were driving in the bus on the way to Park West down the freeway, and there's people in cars coming up and saying, "Yeah, we're going to the show," And it's like this sort of mass, all the people aiming for the show. It's really great. And then afterwards, there's hundreds of people waiting for me to sign autographs, and some of them most polite people that I've ever met after a show. So it's very very special for me.
Well, we look forward to you coming back again as soon as you possibly can make it. And thanks a lot for talking with us.
Okay, it's been a pleasure, Phil.
That's it. We got to go to commercials. All right, thanks again to Howard Jones and commercials, and that's it. See ya. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and where are you?
Salt Lake City is what we say, yeah.
Although your station is outside.
Studio's in Ogden, actually. Yeah. So just any of those things.
Hello, this is Howard Jones. No, it's not. This is Howard Jones. Speaking to you from England. This is great to be talking to everybody listening to KJQ. Have a great time. See you soon in the Salt Lake City area. Bye. That was terrible. That's just babbling idiots. Okay, right. What do you want next?
Just anything like that. That's
okay.
fine. That's great. I want it for our show. Oh, you could do one for our show. Our show's called Radio from Hell on KJQ.
Hello, this is Howard Jones on the Radio from Hell show on KJQ with Bill and Kerry. Nice to see you, lads. See you soon.
Thanks. Just one more. Should we do one for Stacey's show? Would you like one? Listening to Stacey on KJQ.
Hello, this is Howard Jones. You're listening to Stacey on KJQ. See you then.
Great.